It's that time. Freestyle Friday is here, and the best bets for week 10. I cannot believe football season is almost over, is upon us, and we have all ACC teams participating, even Notre Dame. So let's get excited about it. Let's talk about how to make some money for you guys. Drizzy Drake's in the building, Locked on Seminoles. Let's go.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked on ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Drizzy Drake. You know, every time I introduce all the guys, I want to say the lovely, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know if that would hit the same, but like every time someone introduces me, they always do girl stuff. But you know, maybe I'll try it one day. I literally almost said the other day, "Oh, I'm lovely AJ Black," and I was like, he probably wouldn't go for that. So let me stop. But you know, Drizzy, if you ever want to have a lovely Drizzy Drake in the building, go for that.
I'll be like this flexing real quick.
I see the haircut. Okay.
No, I'm trying to look a little cleaner. You know, I'm shedding some pounds, trying to look a little more clean cut for work and everything. I was trying to get my wedding weight down, but also more importantly, trying to get the folks' money right. Because last week we were hella profitable. AJ, I'm sorry, Yecon, we did tell y'all to take a money line sprinkle, and that was cash. That was easy. Virginia Tech also covered. Sorry, Kenton. But Sam Hartman, please don't embarrass me in front of the host like that ever again.
That was definitely the most head-scratching game in terms of putting money down because nobody but Louisville saw Louisville coming. That's for sure. Today's episode is brought to you by Underdog. Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com with promo code Locked On, and you get your first deposit doubled up to $100. It's all about making money today. And listen, Freestyle Friday is always time where we come together and we get on one accord. So, you know, Duke is going up on this Friday night while we are recording this episode. So Friday, as you are listening, you're like, oh my gosh, Candace, aren't you gloating a little bit more about this money? I should be, and I will be getting that smooth 150 from both Drizzy Drake and from Kenton Gibbs. I'm just excited about it. Like, I know you and your old lady have some budget in there just for this specific moment when Duke gets 6 games that you guys laughed me off the stage, really, when I said Duke was going to get 6 wins. And I'm okay. I'm ready for the apology anytime you are.
Yeah, you ain't getting food at the wedding. Listen, with Duke, overall, they've been a good team. I bet a lot of money on them. We've all made a lot of money them together, so they're kind of, softens the blow a little bit. To me, this is a game Duke should win this easily because Boston College, in my personal opinion, is probably one of the bottom 5 worst teams in the entire Power 5. Jeff Hafley, you need a fixed situation going on over there. But I think this is a game that Boston College has a very good chance to cover, mainly because Duke is traveling up there, Chestnut Hill, in November. It's chilly. The weather isn't fun. Duke is also dealing with their injuries as well. And 9.5, they got nothing left to lose at all, period. So
Truly.
To me, I think Boston College will be... It's a riskier play. It's not one of my favorite plays, but if I'm going to lean away to gamble on this one, take Boston College Eagles at plus 9.5.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as spread out as people are maybe assuming. This Duke team is very good. They are dealing with a little bit of injury, but they are so close to bowl eligibility. Like, when you can almost taste something, you taste that piece of chocolate cake or that last piece of goodness. And I'm honestly talking myself up. It's November. I'm ready for Thanksgiving. Clearly, can you tell? I think for Duke and where this program is trying to take itself, it's really important for them to just solidify the W now. Let's not play games, but don't play with your food. Kind of like how you did Georgia Tech. Try to come back in the end. Like, just go for it. Get it out the way, and we'll be good to go. All right, North Carolina is heading up to Charlottesville, and they are playing Virginia. I feel like we're past the October scaries, so please don't embarrass me in Charlottesville, North Carolina. I want us to get a good W and get on about our way and keep it pushing forward and have that undefeated conference record that we currently hold.
So what about this Virginia team scares you at all, period? Because the offense is inept, I think is a very kind way to put it, but they have a very underrated defense. Also, UNC's defense, they've lost a lot of players on the defense side of the ball. Romeo Vahasek is out for the rest of the year. And you're kind of slowly seeing the defense that was getting not better. No, I mean, not great, but they were getting a lot more better and kind of holding on for dear life. To me, this is a game that it's at Virginia. It's against the Hoos. I like the over in this game because of those defensive misses. Virginia may cover this game. However, I think it's a game where basically you don't touch this. Is how I get a little bad vibes about this, but I do think UNC pulls away with the win with this game.
Let me tell you a little story here, Drizzy Drake. It was about 2 years ago. It was around Halloween time, and a 2-win Virginia team decided that they were going to have a Herculean effort against North Carolina Tar Heels. I think they slept on them, and they went up there and assumed, oh, easy money. We don't have to try that very hard. At the end of the day, you don't make it to the Power 5 level. You don't make it, being in the ACC for no reason. I don't want North Carolina to take them lightly because they owe them a lick. I think last year was a good battle between Sam Hartman and Brennan Armstrong, and it's a much different year for Brennan Armstrong this year. However, I've seen them beat North Carolina as a 2-win team. I've seen it with my own too.
Yeah, but also this is a Virginia team that didn't score an offensive touchdown at all against Miami last week.
Yeah, but that, I just felt like that game was a fluky fluke. I don't know. We can talk about your friends here in a second.
I'm actually going to be a lot nicer about them towards this show. Trust me.
Thank God for that.
It's rivalry week. I know, like, if you go on to our show, trust me, I got the fan homer me. We can put our foot on their throats in the game. But realistically, it's going to be tighter than people want it to be, in my personal opinion.
Of course, because it's a rivalry game. That's what good. Let's finish up our 12:30 matchup here. We have Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech, two teams that just, man, they got to play. Somebody's got to play somebody. And, at the end of the day, it'll just be a move in the right direction win for whoever gets that nod at the end of the game.
So Georgia Tech actually has a much better defense than actually originally anticipated. And also a Georgia Tech team that is actually, I think they're top 15 or top 20 in the country when it comes to turnovers for the Power 5. And that's something that's kind of very, very interesting. I think LaMichael Brooks is a great player. And then I think, actually not this year, but next year, I think Zach Pyron actually might be a solid QB to kind of build around when the new head coach comes in. Maybe, hopefully, it's Jamie Chadwell. Maybe it's Deion Sanders, but we'll find out who it is.
You don't think it's going to be key?
I don't think it's going to be key.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be key. The way he
did enough. Yeah,
I think he did enough to hold over. I think he might be coming back, but I think you need to have a splashier, bigger hire, especially someone that has experience in the Atlanta area. But to me, Virginia Tech isn't good. I've already said enough bad things about Grant Wells. I'm not going to, be a dead horse that's mean to the kid. I don't want to be mean to the kid. Seems like a nice guy. So Georgia Tech +3, I think, is the right play here. And putting on the money line because I do think that Georgia Tech kind of, they were lightly embarrassed against FSU, but FSU has a top 15 offense overall. So that's something basically you can't hold them against them.
1,000%. All right, guys, we want to talk here about Underdog. As I mentioned, today's episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to spice up college football season. Listen, at the end of the day, when you're trying to get your money right, I strongly encourage you to bet with Underdog Fantasy. Syracuse, we have a lot of good things with Gadsden. He's trying to bounce back after a shaky game against Notre Dame. You also have North Carolina Drake May, who is on a tear. So you think he's going to go for 200, 300 yards. It's so many up in the air things that will make for a really good game day experience. Sign up with promo code Locked On. And Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Deposit $100, get $100 for free. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or find the Underdog Fantasy app in the App Store / Google Play Store. And that's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Locked On, UnderdogFantasy.com. Get in on the college football pick'em action today. Do you have a pick'em for yourself, Drizzy Drake?
With Underdog Fantasy, I've been starting to dabble in a little bit more. I usually go over to Max with that because he has his own model that does a lot with Underdog and also a former sponsor Prize Pick. So I typically go with whatever he tells me to do, honestly.
Listen, I am all about that. I go with whatever you tell me here on every Freestyle Friday and get my betting action in. So I appreciate that. Let's move on. I mentioned Gadsden wants to have a good game. He's going to need that. Who's going to be his quarterback? That still remains to be seen. I don't know what Schrader's got going on, but maybe he'll be ready for game time. But they face off against a really good Pitt team, sort of like a rivalry matchup there, we can say, especially our Northeastern teams. Pitt needs a bounce back in the worst way, free of Benaconda. But if they can't be free, let's just get him a win. Kedon Slovis, he's not the guy, but, he'll do enough.
I think you put it the best way possible earlier in the week where you've been waiting on him to show him, like that first year at USC, Kedon Slovis actually was that dude. Yeah. But then since he's been over here, it's been nothing short of like it's lackluster. I think mediocre to maybe somewhat average is the best way to kind of describe him. It's all Izzy Abanaconda. I mean, I said free Izzy when you was you and Ken on Monday. And that's something that basically with Syracuse, they're hurt. Garrett Williams is out for the rest of the year. All ACC cornerback and someone that probably will be going and playing on Sundays. Garrett Schrader is also almost like probably going to be out. Carlos Del Rio, I think he had a 51% completion percentage in mop-up duty, but it was mop-up duty against Notre Dame. That's a very, very good defense, a very tough defense. We'll talk about it later. To me, though, I think Syracuse is still the better team, even though there are injured a little more. So +4 to me, I have to go with them at the +4 spot. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose this game, but I definitely think +4 to cover at the very least is very, very attainable for Dino Babers in the squad.
And, I think what hasn't been mentioned enough is how good Pitt's defense, on paper is supposed to be and how they've sort of been. I think that you look at, my guy that I always get his name wrong, starts with an H. You know what I'm saying? You know his name. Can't call it right now. You also know that Sarasi Dennis is doing his thing. And there's another one that I cannot call his name because we're here on the show and we're recording this. And of course it's important that I know these names, but it's Friday and I'm pretty, so whatever. But I think Pitt's defense definitely has needed to give a little more love. It hasn't quite been what we're used to seeing from Narduzzi, but maybe they can turn it around here with a very lackluster Syracuse offense at times, but Sean Tucker certainly is doing his thing. Can they control him? It'll be Tucker versus Izzy to me, and whoever comes out on top is certainly going to make some money for us at the end of the day. So +4, you said, for Syracuse. And it's interesting that they're the home team, but they're not ranked, and they're still the favorites. So maybe that'll be a little chip for the Orange Men. We'll see.
Yeah, also, how did I describe Pat Narduzzi last year before he won the AC title? I called him a plant as a coach. And then at ACC Media Days, he kind of said that, oh no, Kenny Pickett's gone. The OC was a horrible OC that we had, Mark Whipple, who literally just orchestrated a Heisman campaign for Kenny Pickett. And it's like, we need to go back to old school football, running the ball 40, 50 times a game. Izzy, please, just free him because Pat, you don't deserve him, man. I'm sorry.
1,000%. All right. One of the biggest games of the weekend will be Notre Dame and Clemson. It'll be at 7:30 on NBC. And, I think DJ is ready to put the team on his back once again. He has that mental tunnel vision dialed in. He will not have to worry about Cade Klubnik in the back of his ear, just in case Dabo feels like he's a little shaky. I think it takes one interception and maybe 2 bad series for them to repeat. But that's just if I had to put money on it, when does Cade get into the game? I say it's going to be in the second half, probably the third quarter, 2 bad series from DJ.
Yeah, because I feel it's weird because I think Dabo had a feeling that he was able to beat the Syracuse team pretty handily because mainly Syracuse jumped out to a lead because there were 2 really bad turnovers, one of them being the fumble, that was a scoop and score, another one was a pick 6. Mm-hmm. So this game I don't see unfolding in that sort of manner, but that is a really good question. We saw Cade Klubnik go into that game, and his pocket presence was someone that you can tell was a true freshman. He's not used to having grown-ass men chasing him around while the pocket around him collapses. I mean, that's something that, as a 5-star, you're never ready for that until you get hit in the mouth with that. And to me, with Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, to me, is going to be a damn good head coach. He's already a damn good, defensive coordinator. Yeah. To me, this is a game that it's probably the best game at 7:30, besides FSU Miami, obviously. But to me, overall, I think Clemson offensively is the better team. I don't have faith in Drew Pine. I don't have faith in the lack of wide receivers that Notre Dame actually has.
Give me Clemson. Do you have faith at all? No, just kidding. Sorry.
Nah.
Do you have faith in anybody? No faith here, no faith there. Is there faith anywhere?
Yeah, she's calling me out. See, I have 3 words I know to say over and over again, and that's one of them. But you know what? I got faith in Dabo, which I hate saying because she knows that. But give me Clemson -3.5. I hate using that word specifically with Dabo too. So
yeah, I definitely think it's going to come down to one possession. And really, honestly, Clemson, they don't need this win, but in the grand scheme of it all, yeah, kind of, especially with how Michigan and Alabama are around their heels, they can't afford one bad loss, especially with just the narrative of how, yes, someone corrected me and said the ACC is really good, which I go hard in the paint for my ACC. So I don't want you to ever think that I'm not about my boys, but in the landscape of it, Alabama's 1 loss and Clemson's 1 loss are not going to be measured the same.
Yeah, one of them has a Heisman front runner that beat them basically by throwing for 1,000 yards. Another loss would be to an ACC overall. That's not that great.
Clemson an ACC cousin is not even
they're not even in our conference, man. We don't claim them until basketball season starts.
Okay, period. Barely. All right. Even though I love what's his name? Coach. What's his name? The one who drinks all the beers. The head coach from Notre Dame basketball. Is it Bray?
I think it's Bray, yeah. Mike Bray.
God, I am sucking at names. Friday, whatever, live life. James Madison, Louisville, a Louisville team that is doing the damn thing. They said, oh, hold up. We want our coach to stay. Let me show you how it's going to get done, period. Malik Cunningham is actually a damn good quarterback. Don't worry about it. We're going to do the damn thing, period. 7:30 on ESPNU. I'm excited to see this Louisville team match energies 2 weeks in a row. That would be nice to see.
That would be nice to see. Are we going to see that? I'm joking. No, no, folks.
No
One,
faith.
no. Let's see. Well, here's my thing. James Madison came up to a really, really hot start. It was their first year in the FBS. They were ranked for what I think was a week. They were 25, and
Mhm.
then since then they kind of come down, tone back to earth. Scott Satterfield, as much as I don't think he's a good head coach, for the past few weeks, he's kind of basically staving off kind of basically the hot seat that he's had overall. To me, I do have faith in Malik Cunningham. I love that guy. Free Malik was kind of a thing until, you know what? Scott Satterfield actually might be coaching around having a good job. That defense also kind of came out to play and showed out defensive back wise to basically own and demolish Sam Hartman, who's someone that we said on the show several times is a top 3 quarterback in this conference. So to me, his line right now is at 7.5. My numbers say that basically Louisville is should only be a 2-point favorite. F the numbers overall. Give me Louisville minus 7.5 here, and give me the over for 2.5 because I definitely do think Louisville is going to have a statement here.
Yeah, and I think again, keeping up with that statement energy, this is doing really well for Satterfield in the recruiting aspect of it. As much as we talk about the guys that are supposed to be coming in, the top recruits that are supposed to be coming in next season, like this is the way to say, yes, we were down, but we're rallying the troops and we're figuring it out. So kudos to them. I'm gonna skip your favorite one because I want to make sure we end on a high and give you kind of like a whole segment to talk about that bad boy because I have several questions I want to unpack there. But Wake Forest and NC State. It's NC State's homecoming, 8 p.m. on ACC Network. Wake Forest currently favored to win this game. Interesting enough, a home game for NC State at that. Yes, it hasn't been NC State's season, but they damn sure know how to play with some pride, the pack pride when it's all said and done.
And that defense is mean as hell, too.
As hell.
And MJ Morris, I know it's a second game overall. MJ Morris was someone that I know FSU recruited hard because he's a dual sport athlete. A kid super athletic, has a very good arm. And you know what? I think with the weaker preparation, NC State might make a little bit of noise here. I really do like them overall, but Sam Hartman is always due for a bounce back game after he has probably one of the worst games of his life. He always has that one game every year where he struggles, where he fumbles the ball, throws a lot of picks. Last year, I think it was the bowl game he had overall against Wisconsin. To me, 3.5 is a very low thing for basically a Wake Forest offense that needs to rebound in a big, big way. So to me, I think Wake Forest here with Sam Hartman, Dave Clawson, A.T. Perry, Christian Beal-Smith, that's going to be a good time for them.
I just, for whatever reason, feel like with the home field advantage, Carter Finley rocking, like there's just no way this defense is going to allow for Sam Hartman to have a day. There's just no way. Like mentally and like with the horses that are in that stable and the health, this is probably the healthiest they've been at this stage of the season. I can't see it.
I don't think anyone's been able to stop this offense for a little bit. The only people that did was Louisville, and that was mainly because Sam Hartman stopped himself by turning the ball 8 times. I mean, they watched the Duke Miami game, like, oh, look what Jake Garcia is doing. I'm going to copy that real quick.
Yeah, but I think go ahead, finish your point.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say from an offensive standpoint, you were talking about MJ Morris. I think seeing Timmons, the young, receiver out there, I think the return of Trent Penix is going to be huge for them. And then really getting Devin Carter going. He's had a really quiet season, right? I'm ready. Maybe this is going to be his breakout game. And he's had a quiet season for, a multitude of reasons. But I'm hoping that, whatever it is about homecoming that brings out the best in people or makes this a dogfight, it's going to be tooth and nail. But I do encourage fans not to leave. Dave Doran does not like that, okay? So, stay there the whole time.
Don't leave. It's going to be a very good game. I think MJ Morris kind of showed that y'all should have started in the first time. Y'all probably could have beaten Syracuse MJ Morris, a quarterback.
Yeah, 1,000%. All right, the game of all games. We all know Kenton Gibbs. Godly. Kenton Gibbs is irrelevant in this conversation, but we were talking about NC State, and that's what made me think of that. I want to move on to Alex Dono, who I talked to yesterday, who had a lot to say about Florida State Miami and how close of a game it's going to be. And he had very good points, but he really based it down to if Tyler Van Dyke starts, it's a game. If Jeff Garcia starts, it's going to be a long night for Miami. Not impossible because Henry Parrish is actually pretty decent as a running back, but it's still going to be a long game. Here we are with Mr. Florida State himself. One, tell me who's returning that's going to be key, or maybe who, is really getting their legs under them, who really is going to make an impact on this game first. That's my first. Let's talk about this game.
So we basically have, what Cerberus is, a 3-headed monster? Mm-hmm. That's our backfield because my homie Trayshawn Ward is going to be back for this game. Trayshawn Ward, was knocked out of the NC State game, and he is officially a go. That's someone that doesn't have the breakneck speed you see from like a Dalvin Cook or even Jason Corbin last season. He has some of the best patience. It's almost Le'Veon Bell-esque when he gets the patience for the holes, quick athletic agility. He's going to be back. Fabian Lovett, we saw him back last week. we missed him so badly. Jared
Yeah.
Verse is almost to 100%. That's very key because last year, Jermaine Johnson solidified himself as a first-round pick with the performance he had against Miami, especially on the last drive with a very, very crucial sack and almost a near fumble. So to
Yeah.
me, bringing those guys back, it's huge. We're having Alex Donald on actually later today, actually probably about 20 minutes when we're done wrapping up here. TVD, I kind of expect to start because it is a rivalry game. That dude kid actually does love Miami. He'll probably do anything he can to be on the field. But if he doesn't play, that 7.5 line, it's
Looking dicey.
it's looking a little bit dicey.
Okay, my other question, since you brought up Tyler Van Dyke, this kid is not playing in an offense that necessarily thrives and makes him look good. Do you see a poor performance here and maybe a hard toward end of the season, him reconsider staying with the Miami Hurricanes?
If he could, so he had actually performed better the past 2 games up until Duke, where actually did struggle. I think he had 400 yards passing, and they had almost 200 before he got hurt.
Yeah.
If he continues to perform poorly, I definitely think he's someone that if he entered the portal, he would have a very, very large list of suitors. I think that's someone that if you could go give him to a very fast-paced offense, basically up-tempo, similar to Rhett Lashley, who's now at SMU, that could be a landing spot for him overall. He's someone that has the talent to make it in the NFL. I think that's someone that was not surrounded by great wide receivers. He had Charleston Rambo last year, and also Mike Harley, and also Mark Pope. They helped him out immensely. But when you come back, when you basically your number one receiver, Xavier Restrepo, and only came back just now for Virginia, you're not helping him out. And then also with the run game, the offensive line, there's no one blocking for him. Henry Parrish, very, very good player. I think Henry Parrish is the future in the NFL. Same thing with Jalen Knight. I actually love Miami's talented offensive pieces as well as defensive players. I've allowed them through recruiting. But it just feels like right now they're just not gelling at all. I might take a little bit of time for that. And I'm all about these kids maximizing their potential and also maximizing their money because
Yeah.
that's what they want to do the next level. And I think that kid has talent for it.
Absolutely. All right, giving me from a Florida State side of this thing, Jordan Travis, career high day against Georgia Tech. He is rocking and rolling. I gave him facetious credit, but I really do think the kid is good. I think he has a lot of talent and all the things, and Kenton made sure I said that. So it's going to be a repeat offensive performance in terms of you getting your weapons back. You know what he could do on the ground. Do you even see this being close? As a Florida State guy, do you even see this being close?
If you watch our show from Wednesday, what I think I said, and I quote, we should beat this team by 20 to 30 points because this is probably one of the worst Miami teams I've seen in like the past 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
The only reason I don't say that is because of where Miami is at right now. And by that, I'm meaning, one, they're playing a lot of younger players. The recruiting class last year and the recruits they're about to bring in is extremely talented, full of 5 stars and high 4 stars. They have nothing to lose in this game. If they lose the game, you know what all the fans can say? It's a rebuilding year. It's year one under Mario. We just got to give us some time. Which, you know what? That should be the approach that everyone else is taking.
Sure.
But that's the most scariest thing about this team is that they're a wounded animal. That's the most scariest animal is a wounded animal in the corner. Because if they win, that just goes to show what Mike Norvell overall, I don't think we're going to lose. I think we're going to win this game by 10 points. But it just goes to show overall that if you can't beat this bad Miami team at all, period, when they're this poor, that's a huge, huge red flag. And to me, this will be a closer game because it is a rivalry game. This game means something to a lot of people. And this is the game that a lot of kids, go to these schools for. They go to play for against Florida State. They go to play against Miami. They've been playing at Pop Warner Middle School to high school to now here. So to me, this will be close. This will be probably a 7-10 kind of game. And I say that mainly with probably a 3-point lead for us heading into the fourth quarter.
And you took my final question here, but great segue. Which coach? I'm gonna make sure I get it right and not stutter it through. Which coach is this game most important for? Mario, year 1, Mike Norvell, year 3. Okay.
Yeah, year 3.
Okay.
Mike, year 3. I mean, listen, Mario, you said it right there. It's his first year. It's his first year. He's going to probably end up with the best recruiting class in the entire conference. I mean, they landed Cormani McClain after losing to Duke. They also landed Cormani McClain in the same week. They didn't score an offensive touchdown against Virginia. The recruiting down there, Mario Cristobal is great at that. But as long as he's going to be able to probably change some of his staff, I don't think Josh Gass will be there next year. But Mike is in year 3. You can't lose to a first-year head coach at a school that we've been saying all along hasn't performed very well. They're just not being committed to football. And this is one of the worst Miami teams we've seen in my lifetime. Overall, they're poorly coached and undisciplined. But the talent is there. You can't sleep on this. You should be able to beat this team by 20 points. But I don't know. We saw with NC State. You're up by 17-3 at half. You don't score a damn point in the second half overall on a team that you should have beaten, and you had their foot in their throat. You need to finish this off, Mike, and I know you can.
I'm not a Seminoles homer at all, but I got to tell you, if you can't beat a team who couldn't barely beat Virginia by 4 overtimes, baby, you don't deserve to coach nothing. Not Pee
Give
Wee
me that money.
Herman,
I'll do
not
better
Pee
than
Wee.
that.
Like, give me the millions to go sit down somewhere because that would be terrible. But I think it's gonna be a nail biter at first. Gonna get a
Oh
couple
yeah.
punches in the mouth. It's like, ooh, here we are. But all in all, I pray for Florida State's sake, for Mike Norvell's sake, I pray that it gets pulled away and you just like we all laugh about it. We have a beer about it on, next Friday. We talk about how good the game was, all the things. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. I hope for that too, because I actually will be down there. As you know, I live in the South Florida area. If you want to come
Okay.
by, check it out. We can hang out. Like I love, touring around with Miami fans. I got a lot of my family. Obviously, I know listen to the show. That's why I kind of give you all a little more of a harder time. But wait till Florida week comes around because yeah, I got no love for that school at all. Period. Like I don't F around when it comes to Florida.
No doubt about it. So you said -7 or -10?
So right now it's lines at +7.5 Miami, Florida
Okay.
State, folks. I fully expect TVD to play this game. So
Mhm.
I hate what I'm about to say. I think it's gonna play, folks, take Miami +7.5 to cover because that's the kind of game it's
Ooh.
gonna be.
Okay. We love to hear it. We love to see it. Guys, it is
Exactly.
always a pleasure to have Drizzy Drake in the building, even when he has to force himself to give positive vibes to Miami. But more than that, we love having our money right. And again, we're all about to make some money here. After the Friday matchup, I'm going to be $300 richer. So I am living on high cotton. Do y'all understand the lay of the lamb? So, guys, come back next week. Make sure you tell us how your money did. If you had some good bets, if you had some bad bets, if you want to tell Drizzy Drake all about it, leave it in our YouTube comments. Follow us, Locked On ACC. Subscribe to that channel. And where can they find you, Drizzy Drake?
You can follow me at Talent_Drake. You can follow my co-host Dave at FSU Knowles05. And I'm not going to do the old joke because it is Miami Hate Week, so we need the unity. I'll be a united front. We got follow the podcast at Knowles Anonymous, where we engage with our fans. We have a Discord. We got things for episodes. And as always, we're fans first, people second, and content creators third. And FFM, I'm not going to swear on here because I don't want Candace to edit that out, but you can fill in the wording right there if you want.
I already have to edit this one anyway, but I'm so glad you refrained yourself. I appreciate the restraint. For all those watching on YouTube, you're getting a nice little image there. And if you are not, you're listening, maybe you go on YouTube and figure out what Drizzy Drake is doing at the end of the show. Guys, hope you guys have a safe and great weekend. Week 10, ACC football. We are really ready to corner to moving and progressing towards ACC basketball. It's crazy, but we're just about there. I can't wait till we get to talk about your boy. My
Ooh, Coach
guy.
Ham, the GOAT.
I'm looking forward to talking about Coach Ham real soon. Have a safe weekend. Until next time, for Candace Cooper and Drizzy Drake.